Those latest comments coming as a number of Democrats complain that the Tea Party acted like terrorists and hostage takers during the debt crisis negotiations. Ari Fleischer is a former White House press secretary under President George W. Bush and joins us now. Ari, great to see you today.
Good to be here.
All right, part of those comments, Senator Kerry said that you shouldn't be giving any kind of coverage to something that everybody knows is not factual. There are a lot of folks out there, for them, it is factual.
Yeah, I mean, that's the equivalent of a senatorial hissy fit. And he, of course, doesn't want to hear it because he wants to keep on spending, keep on borrowing, and eventually drive the nation into bankruptcy. But the real lesson here, of course, is in Massachusetts in January of 2010, the Tea Party elected Scott Brown to take Teddy Kennedy's seat. That continued in November of 2010. And now Senator Kerry just doesn't want to hear the message that many of the voters are sending. It's a welcome message.
Well, and I have to think that those folks who were behind the big sweep in the midterms in 2010, accredited to the Tea Party, dozens of members of Congress elected, I think a lot of them, it would only fire them up more to hear someone like Senator Kerry trying to completely sideline them as if they're not legitimate at all. He called them absurd.
Yeah, well, I think what's so fascinating about this whole Tea Party movement is the hysteria, the way people have turned against the Tea Party and see them as such a threat, when the reality is you really have a lot of people for economic reasons that have just come out of the woodwork who weren't previously involved in politics, but all of a sudden who are. People could make a blue state like Massachusetts go red. And I think that's another reason that people like Senator Kerry, who are so much of a part of the status quo in Washington, are so fearful when they hear the message, we mean it, Washington needs to change, the spending has got to stop. That's a threat to him, and so I think that's why you see him lash out and others lash out.
Okay, so along with him calling them absurd, we've heard them called terrorists, hostage takers, vampires, cannibals, been equated by some to Southern white supremacists, and a whole lot of other things. I mean, do you think that they're going to be successful in their effort, which appears to be discrediting this particular movement?
No, I think what actually it does is it spurs on the good people who just care about this country, who want to do something about its economic house not being in order. Well, what I do find fascinating is the mainstream media's double standard, where if people had talked like that and used that type of rhetoric, if the Vice President of the United States had called MoveOn.org, for example, under George Bush, terrorist, the mainstream media would have really had a field day with that and urged him to apologize. You see no similar treatment on the other side, because I think there's a lot of mainstream media who also look at the Tea Party askance. And keep underestimating the Tea Party is my hope, because I think they're going to be a powerful force, for good reason, to be reckoned with in 2012 elections.
Do you think it's dangerous when in today's political environment, no matter what your belief or your philosophies are, that you suggest that another viewpoint be silenced, whether it's the Tea Party or those who believe differently than you on global warming or any number of things?
Well, of course, I don't know about dangerous. I have not made the case that these type of foolish statements lead to violence or danger. The Democrats like to say that about Sarah Palin and Republicans, and I rejected that then too. I just think it's foolhardy. This is a noisy democracy, and you have people who are disenfranchised who came out of the woodwork. That is exactly the way a democracy is supposed to work, and especially for a nation that's $14 trillion into debt, people are fed up and they want to go in a different direction. That's been the trend of politics in recent years. I think that trend is accelerating, frankly.
Well, and the First Amendment is a very strong, much-loved principle undergirding our society, especially when you look at the Supreme Court. If they're going to protect people who protest at military funerals, the First Amendment's good for everyone. Ari Fleischer, thank you so much.
Thank you.